everybody, it's Dr. Kalanicki. I hope you guys had a great day yesterday. This is our second lesson in a row, adding polynomials, lesson 3.5. Hope you have the date on today's cover under this lesson, lesson 3.5. So it says in this big circle right here, in order to add polynomials, you must circle and combine or add like terms only. And we had talked about like terms one of the first days of this unit. We also talked about it when we did our last two lessons on combining like terms. So it's just going to look, the problems are just going to look slightly different. Notice there are parentheses around these, but that's okay, and it's not really going to change what you do too much. So this first one, since we're going to model it, I'm going to use Algebra Tiles to show the sum. And you guys can draw them right in this nice empty space right over here. So if you want to, pause the video first, draw the Algebra Tiles. I'm sure we have colored pencils around that I left. That you can use to color them in, but I will show you what they look like on the next slide. So just pause the video, draw the algebra tiles, and then we'll talk about the sum together. All right, if you're back, that means you're ready for me to show you the algebra tiles. So here is what your algebra tiles should look like. Negative 6x plus 3 plus x, just 1x, minus 7 or negative 7. So there you go. If you have your colored pencils, they should be lightly shaded in. So now what we're going to do is we're going to combine the like terms, meaning I'm going to take this x and I'm going to combine it with all these other x's over here. And I'm going to take these 3 and I'm going to combine them with these 7 over here. That way I will combine the like terms and get my final sum. So how does that work on paper? Well, I'm going to first circle. Actually, I want to highlight because I think it's easier. I'm going to highlight the like terms. I have negative 6x here, and I have x here. And something we've talked about already is that we need to put a little number 1 in front of the x in order for us to add them. So then when I add them, I will get, oh, well, these are different signs. Subtract. Again, we have to remember our integer rules. So if I have different signs, I need to subtract them. 6 minus 1 will make 5x. And my answer, my sum will be negative because 6 has a larger value. I'm going to do the same thing, except this time I'm going to use a different highlighter, and I'm going to highlight the other two like terms, my positive 3 and my negative 7. Again, really important to make sure that you underline, circle, highlight the signs that go in front of the constants as well. So again, different signs I'm going to have to subtract. 7 minus 3 makes 4. And my final sum will also be negative because 7 has a larger value. And that is it. I am done. Notice I totally ignored the parentheses. Because I'm just adding, I can add numbers as well as terms in any order that I want. So it doesn't really matter which ones you added first, the green highlighted or the yellow highlighted, just so that you know. Alright, so let's move on to two more examples. Since we've done a lot of combining like terms already, you may want to pause the video and do the next two problems, question 2 and question 3, with a partner. And that's fine. So pause the video if you're feeling confident, do them with a partner, come back when you're ready to review. Okay, if you're ready to review, here we go. So same steps. I'm going to circle the like terms first. So here I have a negative x, which really is a little negative 1x. I don't know if I could squeeze it in here without writing over it. Oh, I did. So negative 1x and negative 4x, these are same signs add. And again, if you look at my answer key, it'll actually say it on there because I do a lot of writing and taking time to write out my steps before I do them. So this is same signs add, which means I'm going to add 4 and 1 and I'm going to get 5x, and it will be negative because they are the same signs. Same thing will happen over here with my positive 12 and my positive 2. Those are also same signs. So I'm going to add those two together and I will get 14, and my answer, this term will be positive because 12 and 2 are also positive. There we go. Not too bad, right? All right, continuing on, negative 5x here and a negative 7x here. We'll combine, same signs add, to get negative 12x. And then over here with these terms, these are actually different signs, so I'm going to have to subtract them. Different signs subtract. 3 minus 1 makes 2. And that sum will be positive because 3 has a larger value. And there you go. Now, something that we're definitely going to be working on when I get back from the field trip is this idea of corrections, also known as something called an error analysis, which is something we're going to be practicing and doing in a little bit. You're going to be using a program called Flipgrid, which a lot of my students liked last year. So that's something called error analysis. What basically that means is I'm going to look at someone else's work and try to figure out what they did wrong, what they did that was incorrect. So it says Tiffany wrote an expression that represented the perimeter of the triangle. Look at her work below and make any corrections. So before we start, we obviously need to look at this problem and really understand what she should have done. So it says she wrote an expression that represents the perimeter. Perimeter is a nice clue word. That really means to add up all the sides of a shape. So I like to say the sum of the sides. So you might want to write that down as like a clue phrase or clue word for that. Let's make it red. There we go. For that word perimeter. So I'm going to add up all of these numbers. So it looks like that's what she did. So I'm going to look over here and see. She added 4x plus 2. That's this side. She also added 2x plus 3. And she also added x minus 2. All right, so far, that step looks pretty good. Then she looks like she did some circling and combining like terms, which is awesome. That's totally what she should have done. So she circled 4x, she circled plus 2x, and she circled plus x. And since those are all positive, same signs add. She should add them up. 4 plus 2 plus x, and she wrote 6x. That's not right. Because there should be a 1 in front of this x. 4 plus 2 makes 6, but she forgot this plus 1. So this should actually say 7x. So that's not right. Everything else, it looks like she just brought down. The 2, the plus 3, the minus 2. So let's see if she made any other mistakes. She also circled these like terms again, 1, 2, 3. And let's see if she added correctly. Same signs, 2 plus 3, I'm going to add. That makes 5. And then 5, and then this is minus 2. Well, 5 minus 2 is not 7. So her final answer of 6x plus 7 is wrong. It should be 7x, which we talked about already, adding up these three like terms. 2 plus 3 makes 5. 5 minus 2 makes 3. And that 3 is going to be positive. So her final answer should say 7x plus 3. Some advice I'd have for Miss Tiffany over here would be to make sure she slows down, circles her like terms, which she did. Maybe double check her work. Maybe remember her integer rule, same signs add, different signs subtract. And make sure she puts the 1 in front of any term that does not have a coefficient. All right, moving on. So this is the back. A few problems to try. Basically a lot of practice. If you'd like, you can do at least the first 2 with a partner, but I think you guys are probably going to be well enough in this topic that you can do these 6 questions on the back by yourself. So try the top 6 questions. If you get to it, you can do the 11 and 12 and pause the video while you do that. When you come back, I will go over all of these for you in detail. So feel free to pause the video, give them a try. And wherever you get to, just make sure you play a little bit of the video at least so you could check your work before you leave for today. Thanks, guys. All right, if you're back, I'm going to do a lot of like term highlighting really quickly. I'm going to do all the X's in one color, and I'm going to do all the constants in another color. Here we go. So those are all my coefficients and my variables, and then these are all of my constants or numbers all by themselves. 4 and a -2. Cool. And the only other thing I want to add to this is there's a lonely x right here, and I'm going to put a 1 in front of it. And there we go. All right. I'm going to actually change my pen color because I am kind of over this red pen right here. I want to make it blue because I like blue pens. Let's make it thin. Excellent. All right, here we go. So I'm going to say a lot of rules all the time. I'm always going to be saying integer rules like same signs add, different signs subtract. You're going to hear me say this a lot. So you might want to write those phrases down. Again, if you're not saying these to yourself, then you're not doing it right. And that was a lot of little mistakes on our last test had to do with this. And since I just graded them, it's fresh in my mind. All right, so negative 9x and positive 1x, different signs subtract. You heard me say it. I'm going to say it a lot. When I subtract 9 and 1, I get 8. Final answer is going to be negative because 9 has a larger value. Negative 12, negative 8, that's the same signs add. Let's see. I'm actually going to check off to see how many times I say it. I'm going to say it a lot. Same add. 12 plus 8 makes, I had to count on my fingers for that one, makes 20, and my final sum will be negative because those are same signs. Moving over to this one, 14 and negative 3, different signs subtract. I said it again. So I subtract them and I get 11x, and my 11 will be positive because 14 is larger. And then over here, 7 plus 2, same signs add, plus 9 will be my final answer over here. 11x plus 9. Down here, 2x and negative 3x, different signs subtract. I'm going to get negative 1x because negative has a larger value. Negative 1 plus positive 7, different signs subtract. I get 6, and that answer, that sum will be positive because 7 has a larger value. Moving over here, before I stop, I could also rewrite this because you know you've seen sometimes the 1 is not there. So you might also see this answer written like this, and that's perfectly okay too. Just so that you know, these are the same. So in case this is a multiple choice question and you're like, but my answer's not there. It is there, it's just the 1 is hiding. Okay, moving over here. All right, negative 5x, negative 9x, what rule is it? Yeah, same signs add. Same signs add, I get negative 14x, positive 4, negative 2, different signs subtract. Positive 2 when I subtract those two. There we go. My handwriting's getting messy. All right, final couple examples. 11, negative 8x, negative 9, and negative 5 over here for my variables. Positive 2 and negative 2, negative 10 and negative 4. And here we go. So 11x and negative 8x. Oh, I gotta go back to my different sign subtract. So I get 11 minus 8 makes 3x. And then I have 2 and negative 2, different sign subtract. Oh, checking it again. Different sign subtract. I get 0. Well, no point in writing that 0 because it really doesn't mean anything. So my final answer is just lonely 3x all by itself. If you wrote this on a test, would it be wrong? No, but it's not correctly simplified. So this is technically the correct mathematical answer. All right, over here, negative 9x and negative 5x. Same signs add. I get negative 14x when I add those two. Negative 10, negative 4, negative 14, same signs add. Ooh, my handwriting's getting really sloppy. See how many times I'm checking this? This is how many times I'm looking at this or saying it. Now this next one, it doesn't actually say to add, but there is a clue word that says add. So in order to make sure I show my correct work, I do need to rewrite this as I'm doing right now. Sorry, put that space there. Using a plus sign. So you notice this problem does not have the plus sign in between it, but this word right here tells me I need to add them together. So sum means add. Now that I wrote an adding problem, I can now add them. So this was a really important step, just as simple as adding them. I got 10x and negative 4x. Again, my rule, different signs subtract. 6x. Then I also have my two constants, 3 and negative 2. Again, different signs subtract. 6x plus 1 will be my sum. And then this last one, again, we talked about this word perimeter earlier. Perimeter means all the way around the shape, the sum of the sides of the shape. So I'm going to type that out. So I'm going to go all around the shape. I'm going to start with the top, says 5, plus the right side says 2j, plus the bottom says 3h, plus the left side says 2j, and I'm back at 5. Sorry, guys. All right, and now it says write an expression in simplest form. That gives me the hint that I need to do something with this to make it simpler. And that really just means I need to combine this like term and this other like term, and there's no other like terms. So when I add those two together, 2j plus 2j, same signs add, I get 4j. And then everything else just kind of stays the same. I could write these in a couple different orders. Like here I wrote it this way. I could also have written it with the 5 in front and then added the 4j and then added the 3h. But again, adding is commutative, which just means I can change the order if I want to, but the answer will always be the same. I hope you guys had a great day with this. I hope this helped you do a little more adding. We're going to be doing some more adding tomorrow, as well as talking about error analysis, finding the mistakes in other people's work. I hope you had a great day, and I will see you back at school soon. Bye.